Hello and welcome back to the PPW podcast, bringing you news, views, and interviews from the world of real estate online marketplaces and prop tech industries. As always, we are with Simon Baker. Simon, how are you?
I'm fantastic, Harvey. Good morning.
Good morning. And our guest today, Stefan Gunnarsson from Proptexx. Stefan, how are you?
Hello there. Very good. Thank you. Good morning.
Well,
Good
we're
morning.
very excited to talk to you about AI today, particularly in terms of the consumer experience. So let's get straight into this. What does Proptexx do? Where did the idea come from? And tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Yeah, so Proptech started 5 years ago when we started looking into enhancing the user experience on listings. And we started dabbling in AI and building our own in-house models that were then rolled out through different websites, marketplaces and brokerage sites, etc., that essentially allow users to play and engage with the listing as if they were living there tomorrow. So they change the interior as they like, and they start to engage properly with it before they can say, I'm interested in this property. So we're empowering these websites with these tools and rolling it out as we speak.
I mean, I count a suite of 10 products for Proptexx at the moment. So could you just give us a quick outline of exactly what maybe some of those products look like and how they work for the consumer?
Sure. So when you come on a website, what we allow people to do is to change the interior of a home. So we allow them to change the style. We allow them to change certain furnitures, paint the walls, change the flooring, change the kitchen, go from a traditional old kitchen over to an island beautiful kitchen, see how that looks, the bathroom, etc., the exteriors. So these are the things, and naturally the usual suspect, which is the virtual staging. So you have an empty home and you put some furniture in it, and how that would look like. We have the freedom of allowing people to then prompt text inside so they can freely play with it. If they would like to put a giraffe in the middle of the room, they can do that, and so on and so forth. So it is essentially playing with the usual without changing the structure. So I think the main thing here is we're not going into any fantasy. We're not going into the Mid-Journey type of thing or DALI, where you say change the interior and it changes it to some Disney World thing. We keep the structure and we allow for changes of elements that wouldn't fundamentally change the property. Does that make sense?
So I guess what you're really doing in this process is allowing the visitor to the portal to fall in love with the property,
Correct.
and fall in love with the property not as it is, but as they dream it to be or could be. Do you, how let's sort of walk through that, right? So I go to a website. I know you guys work with Immo Scout 24. I search on a listing. What happens? Do you come up as a button, or what's it physically look like?
Yeah, good question. So we have several products. We have the low touch product, which is the most sold right now and distributed. Is what we call the widget. So it's a one line of code, like we like to call it. One line of code that goes in the header of a listing website, and that allows for a little snippet or a widget that comes on top, like a chatbot, pulls in all the images and allows the user to play on top of the listing itself with the images. So that's the user journey for the low touch customers, right? That don't want to integrate anything. The customers like the Immo Scout or the portals or teams that have uh, tech involved and are able to do this integrated, we provide them with a documentation of APIs, and we help them integrate within their own structure. So they build their own flow using our APIs. And so we have a suite of logic that we built for them inside these APIs. So we usually what we do is that we listen to what they want to build within their flow, and we build one API key that actually does that for them. So typically it means an image is empty. We detect that it's empty, and we start suggesting to the user that this could look better with furniture. And if the environment is more wooden, we would start to say, okay, well, it would be good to stay wooden. Don't go IKEA, or don't go something. Try this.
So what happens if I'm looking at a picture of a house which already has a family living in it, and there's already furniture within it? Do you take that furniture out and allow me to play with it?
Correct. So
So it's fully customizable in any direction.
absolutely, and most use cases are actually off interiors that have existing furniture. And so what the tool does is that it's first reading what's in there. So it's detecting, it's taking away the elements that are within that are replaceable, and then it overlays with the new furniture. So it makes it look as if you would basically remove everything and put something inside right away. We can also do fully decluttering. So it can also remove, if you come into a room and there's a lot of kit toys there and all sorts of things, and you'd like to see what the space looks like, you could run a decluttering model on our end and remove all the toys, and there you go. And that happens within 5-6 minutes.
Okay, so I'm a user. I go to a website. I see images of the house. I go, well, I like this. Wonder what I could do with it. Click the button, and then I start to play. And I play through. Is it like a free-form text search? So I can just type in anything, and it will start to interpret what I want to do, or do I have to select options?
Yeah, so today the tool is set up as options. So it's a drop-down thing that guides you through the flow. This is how we've set it up today. Initially, when we launched the product in October last year, it was launched with that text prompt. We removed the text prompt for the time being, just to make sure that we could control the output, so that people wouldn't be, typing random stuff and the output would be just weird. That wouldn't be a good experience. So we started to nail it down into drop boxes. This is how it's set up today. But we are coming back with the prompts because people are getting used to prompts. It's the norm now, where people can actually talk as a tool, and as AI is getting, it's a part of life today, then it's just normal that we just reintroduce it.
Now, how I go in there and I go, fantastic. I like this house. I've changed the furniture. I've painted the walls. I've changed the kitchen layout. Do you integrate with any sort of pricing options to give me an idea what my dream will cost, or is that another step which you're yet to get to?
Yeah. Now you're taking the roadmap out. Indeed, what we're able to do today is to identify the elements from before and after. We're able to say the couch that you're seeing in this image, we can detect an estimated price for a similar object. We're never going to say this exact object is that particular price, but we say similar object is that kind of price. And we can even say in the vicinity of that property, you can approach this object in a store, and this is the store. So, yes.
Okay, so you start to bring in.
Yeah.
A bit like House, isn't it? House in the US does that.
Yeah.
Where you can go and look at images, but without the AI.
Correct. So the whole idea is to allow the user to. It's all about engagement, isn't it? I mean, usually a user would stay on a listing site 1 minute, 1:30. With the widget today, playing with the widget, we are seeing up to 20 minutes for for a user, right? So just engaging with the property and trying different things and playing with it. During 20 minutes, there's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of attention suddenly on that particular property, which is one of our selling points. Is actually John out there has is house hunting. He's got 30 minutes in his day for house hunting. We can take 20 minutes of that on a particular property. And there's a lot of things that we can actually pull in, right? There's a lot of understanding, behavioral understanding that starts to happen. Just John being there and playing during these 20 minutes. And the more we give him, the more understanding or the more richer information we get from that behavior that can then translate into a better experience. Think of Netflix, same thing.
That's very interesting, Stefan. Could you go into a little bit more detail about what kind of data you're extracting from people spending time on listings and what sort of templates or ICPs that you can sort of start piecing together based on people engaging on listings that have been enhanced by Proptexx?
Yeah. So the first data that we are starting to see is typically kitchen is the main thing where people want to play, renovate. Kitchen seems to be the main. It's the biggest cost center when it comes to renovation anyway. When you buy, it's the immediate go-to. We can see that. There are particular styles of furniture and setups that come up in particular areas of the globe. So you can have, Texas is not going to have the same thing as the south of France, typically. But it's also interesting. We noticed that when you have typically with the virtual staging where the agent or the broker are staging something and then publishing it, often the user is just not receptive to that and changes that into something else, which means that the broker was just not aware of what the user wanted or the client wanted. So this is the type of things that we're starting to gather now. I mean, we're just a few months into the product. We're a few months in, but significant amount of imagery being processed a day. So we're starting to get data that we can interpret now.
And I would think that data is sort of clearly valuable back to real estate agents for staging, and then feedback to furniture companies about, if you're in as you said, in Texas somewhere versus the south of France, and you're an IKEA store in both, will carry different things because there's no point being vanilla everywhere. You can actually start to have a better idea of what's going to sell and what's not going to sell in an area, based on what users are doing, right? Let the user sort of vote with their fingers about what they want to see in a property.
Yes, exactly. So our approach was always go to the source, right? The source is the user. The user needs to feedback what they want. And the product is gaining traction because users are going to expect this down the road. The more websites we get with this tool on it, the one that doesn't have it, users will just flock to where they can actually do it because they are engaging and they want to engage. I was talking about this with our head of engineering here, and I was saying, few years ago there was cable TV. Today I've never returned to that. Today I open TV and I'm fed what I want to watch, and what I watch is not what you would see on your Netflix, right? So at the end of the day, this is how the user behavior is going to happen. This is where this is going in any case. Who and through what tools, that's another story.
Yep. So let's talk about the challenges of actually delivering this. I mean, if you've got, I don't know how many images the average property must have 20 or so images. And then, the average, if you're dealing with like Scout24 in Germany, it must have hundreds of thousands of images. So now you're in the millions of images. And then you're running various algorithms or various requests against potentially each one of those images. How do you process all this in literally a time frame that's going to make my life easy as a consumer? I don't want to be going, I'd love to see an IKEA fit out in this property. Press a button and 15 minutes later it comes back. How do you ensure that it's instantaneous and a great experience?
Yeah. So that was the I think this is probably one of the secret sauce of Proptexx. We have a top tier one cloud infrastructure that we're working on with in between the big boys, in between GCP, so Google, Amazon, and then Azure. So we switch in between. When you have 100,000 images coming in 30 minutes, which happens, uh, obviously everything just blows up, right? It just the GPUs start to open up, and the demand
And
gets.
smoke.
You, you're almost. I just wonder when we're going to get that call from Google saying, "Hey guys, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can imagine, when you get that hit. Now it's interesting because we have set up the infrastructure in a way where it's fully scalable, so there's no limit, and it's just a matter of bandwidth. So I guess next step is really to start to prioritize that bandwidth and work with our customers in order to see what needs to be prioritized immediately and what can be drip fed over time, and et cetera, et cetera. So technically, things will get better from today. I mean, it will just get better. GPUs are getting better, infrastructure is getting better, everything is just getting better.
Everything's getting faster. I think the problem is that the demand on those communal CPUs and the GPUs are going up, and as people start to not only do image processing but do video processing, which becomes the big hog of GPU time.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that you stay at the front of the queue and don't end up at the back of the queue and thus have a longer lag times? I assume if someone's not a tier one or a top tier, you're at the back of the queue and you're pressing that button, and a day later you're getting your image.
Yeah. So, well, we are fortunate enough to be in a partner program with Google. So we are in the startup AI program there. So we are definitely on the forefront of that queue. We get the first GPUs served. AWS is exactly the same thing. We're in the AI program there. We've been very busy with partnering with these guys and cozying up for sure. That's helping us today. Um, the the infrastructure, our people, in-house people, come from these companies, so they understand the ins and outs of AWS and Google because they were working there, and so they can set things up pretty fast, optimal, which is very important in today's world because things just go so fast, and
Yes.
if you don't understand it, you're quickly left in the dust, right?
Yeah. So if we were to look back, I want to explore a couple of dimensions. One is the experience of building a business in a high growth environment. What are some of the headaches, the lessons learned, what you could have done better in that process, and then I want to sort of move on to where you see AI going and this user experience and the ability to immerse oneself into this whole environment. So let's start up with building a startup. What if I remember, you've got 5 years of building this. That's you've come a very long way in 5 years, and not only are you growing your business, but the industry is fundamentally changing at the same time.
Yeah,
What did you do right? What did you do wrong?
yeah. That's a
Some lessons.
great question, Simon. I think if I were to scrap everything and do everything now again, I would keep one guy and I would have Proptexx up and running in no time because I know exactly how to do it now. But to get to that stage, you need to take. I can't remember who gave that analogy where you take glass and you just chew on it, right? And you never take it out, and it just hurts all the time. And you're building and you're building and you're building, and at the end of the day, you just get stronger and you get better at it. But what I would do different, probably nothing, because everything that we've done so far, I'm not going to go back into the mistakes that we have done. I'm not going to go into hardware. We tried that quickly, moved away from that. I'm not going to go into things that deviate from the main or from the core thing. I'm definitely gonna say that what I have learned over these 5 years is use the tools that are coming out. So go with the current, not against it. If AI is coming out with something new, if Gemini is coming, if GPT 4.0 is coming, if something new is coming tomorrow, that is just an opportunity for companies like us that are, have made head start into the game, and we're integrated, we're used, we're recognized. Embrace it, take it, use it, and even put it into your workflow. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. I would say from an outside-in perspective, what I like about what you're doing is it's a very simple proposition. You go to a portal and you're literally saying, do you want better consumer engagement with each of your listings? You do? Great. Here's one line of code you need to add to your site.
Yep.
And by adding that one line of code, you're now able to allow the consumer to spend 20 minutes on this one listing, imagining it if it's their own home.
Yep.
What that means is that if someone's done all that work and they generate a lead for the agent, the probability of closing out that deal is very high, which means that they can then send on a much higher quality lead to the advertising agent, who's going to be much happier that they can then spend a short amount of time with this consumer. They can probably, do you provide access to what the consumer's done? Hey, by the way, Mr. Agent, did you know that this person has, I don't know, painted the house red and pink and done a kid's bedroom and all this sort of stuff? So, they're 8 out of 10 for buying in the next 20 minutes.
Absolutely. I think that's the main thing. What agents and brokers or listing owners are looking for is, one, it's a lead capture tool. So let's look at the widget sitting on a website today. There's traffic coming on the website. Engaging with the tool allows to capture that traffic better. So you're actually starting to understand the pass-through traffic way better. So there's a lead capture mechanism in place that they are fond of. They're looking for that. And every time there's a lead capture, there is an understanding of what they were doing, meaning the pictures before and the pictures after, and what did they do in order to enhance it. So what is their profile? And as a listing owner, how would you go about that? How would you approach somebody who actually changed a room into a bunk bed bedroom, right? What does that mean? 2 kids, definitely. There's going to be a school, definitely. There's going to be security in the area. There's a lot of parameters and profiling that can be done quite easily just by knowing that the user put a bunk bed in that room.
Yes. So when we then think about the future, right? So we go back 5 years and you paint a picture of what could be, and a lot of what you're doing would have been on that picture, and a lot of what you're doing you've discovered along the way. Paint a picture for the next 5 years. What do you think is going to be? What's the next evolution of this engagement?
Yeah. So 5 years ago, you can imagine when I spoke with VCs or anybody out there that I was going to do AI, they laughed, right? They were like, "Where's the crypto? Where's the the fancy stuff back in the day?" So asking today, where's the next wave going? I think the AI is the AI is here to stay. I mean, there's no doubt about it, and everybody recognizes that. The user is embracing it. So in our day-to-day, we're going to get more and more tools. It's going to start to act more and more as an assistant to us. And you can probably already feel it if you're driving. You're like, if only I had an AI that could actually do my job while I'm driving, and I could just dictate what I'm thinking. That's where AI is going, right? It's going to just help you out in your day-to-day task. And you could imagine somebody waking up and saying, "Yeah, I want a new home. AI assistant, find me a new home." And what happens? Build up the AI assistant knows my profile, I have a family, I have this and that, and just builds out a search. And coming back to listings and portals, I mean, this is the next search. I'm definitely not clicking on drop down boxes and stuff like that throughout the day searching for something. This is all going to be done for me. Just like Netflix was the next evolution of cable TV.
Yep. Do you think we will turn search on its head? And let me give you a scenario. I'm looking, at the moment, it's all about location, price, some general things, beds, baths, whatever, right? It's very basic. And if I don't know the location clearly, or if I don't know, well, the problem is I don't know what I don't know, so it's hard to find somewhere in a place I don't know about that could meet my criteria. Do you think it could actually end up being the other way around, which says, I want a house, I want a, I don't know, a Tuscan style villa, right? So I want Tuscan style villa. So you go Tuscan style villa, you bring up images and you go, yeah, I want it to look like this. Now search, find me something that looks like this in Austin, Texas, because I've got to go to Austin, but I want a Tuscan style villa.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then you'll get your search results.
Yeah. You could be at somebody's house. You could take a photo of their living room, upload it, and say, "Find me similar properties." Absolutely.
Yeah,
Now, is the search going to go that way? I think your question is twofold. So there are people that need a location, and there are people that don't need a location. I'm the one that don't need a location, so I can say I would like a lifestyle and find me something. And there are others that are muted for a corporate setup where they have a job and they have an office to go to, and there is parameters around that are school and it's just not just the office but other things. And do I want to go on a listing site and have these things just popping up in front of me, just like if I keep saying Netflix, I should say something else, but yeah, it just pops up and feeds the suggestions based on my profile, right? Yes, the search then changes. It's not a search anymore. It's here is what is suited for you. Check it
yeah.
out, watch it, take 20 minutes of your time and play with it.
Yeah, it's a discovery
It's a
process.
discovery. Here you go. It's a discovery. So you could actually wipe the search out and say discover.
So you've got this interesting thing where you go traditional search leads to properties, leads to static images. The images become dynamic, and them becoming dynamic, you learn more about me as an individual.
Absolutely.
That then can feed back and say, well, let's now have an image-led search, right? Based on, we know you like your Tuscan villa, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Have you thought about living in this town, this city, this suburb, and so on?
That's it.
Where, by the way, there are a lot of these sort of houses and big yards close to schools. So it's learning more about you, not only on what I guess if you think about it, putting a bunk bed into a room, and by the way, I'm going to paint it that Tuscan pinky color, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You've now got a lot of data points that you can then start to infer about me.
Yeah.
And that changes the search dynamic.
Yeah, and the more you use it, the better it becomes, the better it understands you. So, you go on 20 listings and you start playing with it, and you go back to the first one, you can already start to suggest things based on the journey you were on during the last 20, right? So it's AI is just about what you tell them, right? It's just about data. What information are you giving it, and then it interprets that based on usually prompts, and it spits an output, right? So it's not more complicated than that. We say it's really just data and how you use it.
So but when then does sort of AI start to go from being the co-pilot to being the leader? And it goes, yes, Simon, you're dreaming if you're going to get a Tuscan villa in, I don't know, Austin, Texas, because that's going to cost you 800,000 plus, and you can only afford 500,000.
Yeah. Isn't
So
that
when
wonderful?
does it start to go from aspirational co-pilot to depressional leader?
uh, I guess if you leave out in the prompt your 500,000, it would probably continue to suggest that higher and better properties. But I mean, isn't it good that you're not wasting your time looking at properties? Remember the 20 minutes. You're not looking at properties that you'll never be able to afford it. Why would you? You want to dream, fine, you go out of it. If you go on booking.com, you go on Agoda, you go on Expedia, etc. It's all about this discovery. Again, that's online travel, right? And we're in real estate. We're in the largest asset class. We're in the biggest business on the planet, and we don't even have that. That's crazy in my mind. But it's coming.
Yeah, I agree. But I will disagree with you a little bit. I think for some people, searching at property is their Netflix. Okay,
Yeah.
and we learned this many years ago at REA, and also when looking at other sites, is a fair. If you look at if you look at these massive audience numbers that these portals say they've got, millions and millions of people viewing each month. Yes, millions of people are viewing, but not millions of people are buying. Many of them are tire kicking. They're looking to see what we'd say what the Joneses are doing, what the other people are doing, where they're living. Wouldn't it be nice if I had a house next to the beach with a pool or whatever? Never being able to, knowing if you really ask them that question that they could never afford it, but they want that
And
aspirational journey.
yes, and this is where the widget or the ability to engage with these listings comes in, because you can start to envision even your own current house. You could start to envision that house in a different style. So you can dream. You can actually just pull up your own images and play with it. It's the same thing,
Do you
right?
have a do you have a do you have a website where I can literally walk around my house with my camera, take a few pictures, upload them, pay you my $20, and you say, go for it?
Absolutely, and it's not $20; it's way less. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, okay, but that's good, right? Because then that's another angle to this: is how do you help me think about what I can do with my current asset, or just help me daydream, right? Okay,
Oh
we
yeah,
always discovered at years ago at REA that the busiest day of the week was Monday, and the busiest time of the Monday was during the workday, because you could
yeah,
sit in the office and surf on the boss's dime, okay, and have a very quick what's it called, boss screen, whereas you have the little alt shift, move to the Excel spreadsheet. Um, so I think what you've got is a super interesting product, not only for helping. I think it serves quite a number of purposes. One is clearly helping me as a searcher engage more with the property, to sit there with my partner and go, well, we could put the kids in here, we can paint it pink, you can have your, mother-in-law, father-in-law stay in the room down the end, or whatever. We can do all these things, and let's, instead of just talking about it and maybe getting a piece of paper and sketching it out, let's actually look at it together online, so we fall in love with something. I think secondly, it's a great way in which you can also help me keep my feet on the ground. If I can press that button and get this renovation is going to cost you $100,000. Oh, whoops.
exactly.
IKEA's
Yeah,
looking good. And I think third, it's a great way to start to help the portals enhance the quality of the leads, and the end advertiser, the agents, to have a better understanding of the people they're dealing with, so that they can then provide a higher quality service.
yeah. I think it's right there. It's the users are going to ask for this. The agent will not have a choice. The user will ask, where can I play with it?
Yeah. All of this for one line of code.
See?
The big question is how much does that line of code cost, Stefan? Is this something
Oh.
that is really easy for any portal to get, or you know, are you trying to target the big boys, shall we say?
No, so interestingly enough, we have every we have every price and every product for everyone in the market. So we have the typical API usage tier for the big boys that have millions of images that they need to be processing. We have a model even where we just pass through the server cost. We just say we're not a server company. We don't care. You take the server cost and you just license our models. So that's also possible. We have we have models where you have the brokerage, a Remax, latest one onboarded was Remax Romania, I believe, or Hungary. Uh, they, pay a flat fee for just unlimited use on their of the widget on their website, and we just let them play. So it's really, and we're not talking big dollars, right? We're talking, it ranges from $70 a month up to a few thousand.
Okay. What I'm hearing is that you're very flexible in working with the requirements of the customers. And your prime customer would be a portal, a franchise group, and anyone who's running a property website that has at least one property on it. Okay. So that you can then allow the consumer to engage with that property.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone in anyone
And I think it
holding a
would probably
property.
be,
Sorry.
and I think it would work really well with developers where you're buying off the plan and you have at that moment, you can actually start to craft the outcome and feed into the development process.
Yeah. So the developers are an interesting animal because so we are working with one of the larger developers on the planet right now, preparing the same thing. And it's interesting the way they look at property, what can be changed and not changed. Because remember, their business is also to sell what's in the appliances and stuff. So there are a few things that need to be tweaked. So it's interesting to work with them. The base is the same, but the use case starts to vary because it's off plan, right? So
Yeah.
there are
And they
financial
don't want
aspects.
too much variability.
Correct. They wanna
Yeah.
they wanna hold on to as much as they can in terms of budgeting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You are getting the Smeg appliance, whether you like it or not. Right. Because I've bought 1,000 of them and they're sitting on the truck and I got to put them in the apartments. You get to choose whether it's on the left or the right. Enjoy your decision. Yep. I get it.
Stefan, Stefan, when you're doing the sales pitch, shall we say, how are you pitching the product? Are you talking about it an engagement product? Are you talking about a gamification product? Are you talking about it as data capture? What's the driving force behind trying to get people to sign up?
So it depends on the audience. If the audience is a portal, it's not the lead capture. Is what we are seeing is relevance, being relevant, coming out with innovation, helping the user. So we see the portals coming more into that game, um, to bring value to the users and drive engagement. This is what they're looking for. When you talk to a brokerage, it's all about the lead. I mean, no mystery there. It's always the same thing. The lead, the lead, the lead, the lead. The better the lead, the better. Uh, so it really depends on the persona that you're selling to. The way we have approached it is to integrate our solutions into existing, typically with brokers and agents. We don't sell directly to brokerages or agents. We actually integrate into their day-to-day tools, so into their CRM and their CMS, etc., where they have our tools and they can just tick on or off if they want it or not, and it just appears. So we have taken the route of going native through the tech stack and integrate so that we don't have to talk to the world of millions of agents. We sit with the ones that have already done that legwork.
Okay, Stefan, we're going to wrap up. I really like what you're doing. I think it's super innovative. And from having run a portal, in back in the day, if you had this technology, I would have integrated it in a heartbeat, because I'd get a much, I'd become, as you said, relevant. So I'd be much more relevant to the person who's surfing. I can get them immersed, engaged. Clearly, as running the portal, I'd be thinking about my advertising I could shove on top of it. Because if someone's there for 20 minutes, I'm going to shove a lot of IKEA ads in front of them, or SMEG ads, because I want to get them, not only thinking about what that property could be like, but then driving a high quality lead to the advertiser. The advertiser is going to be happier in the outcome. So well done, and clearly in 5 years you've built something super interesting, quite magnificent, and we're looking forward to seeing you in Barcelona, which will be great. You'll be there. And I think you're going to share. We're going to get you to do a presentation there and share more of your thoughts about what the future of AI is in this space. So, thank you very much for spending some time today with us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and we'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.